Well, we can get more now on the picture, the state of nationalism in both Northern Ireland and Scotland. I'm joined by Paris Gourtsoyannis, who is the Westminster correspondent for the Scotsman, and also from Belfast by Mick, Fealty, the founding editor of the Northern Irish politics blog Slugger O'Toole. Thank you both very much indeed for being with us. Well, I want to start with a simple question. Which of the two countries, Scotland or Northern Ireland, do you think is closer to breaking away? What do you think, Paris?
Well, certainly Nicola Sturgeon would like to have an independence referendum next year. I think the reality is that that's a bit of a ploy in that, in the same way that Alex Salmond proposed a two-question referendum back in 2014, simply because he wanted to decide what the question was. She's thrown out this very tight timetable to try and get a bit more leverage in the negotiations. I don't think we're going to see it next year, but certainly after the Scottish Parliament election in 2021, it's a possibility.
Mick, Fealty, what do you think? I mean, Northern Ireland does now have a majority of nationalists at Westminster and in voting.
Well, yes, that's one way of looking at it. But the truth is that at the very beginning of this election campaign, Sinn Féin alone of all the parties, their main message was they wanted a border poll. The border poll is basically a plebiscite to decide on whether Northern Ireland returns to unification with the Republic. But about halfway through, they changed that because it was clearly not jiving very well with what they were getting on the doorsteps with the voters. Their nationalist rivals, the SDLP, a much more moderate group without any paramilitary roots or any kind of connection to violence, and a less radical, far more constitutional approach to the nationalist cause, affected a landslide victory, the largest victory, even surpassing anything that John Hume had been able to do in his heyday. And that's a significant setback to that radical voice for forcing a border poll ahead of when Northern Ireland is constitutionally ready for that, and putting ahead of it a re-engagement with the constitutional arrangement set up under the Good Friday Agreement in Stormont. And that proved to be a very, very popular line, because the SLP not only won one landslide victory, it won another one in Belfast, but this time against the DUP. So I think there's a resurgence of the moderate middle there, which I think will begin to clear the mist around some of these unrealistically high expectations that a border poll is going to come anytime soon.
I mean, even if Scotland gets another India F2, of course, winning it is a different matter, isn't it?
That's right, but I think people who have said for the past 3 years, look, Brexit hasn't raised the support for independence, they're looking through the wrong end of the telescope, as Billy Connolly puts it. Actually, we haven't seen support for independence fall at all since 2014, and it really is at historic highs now. It's about 49%. When the independence referendum was called, I think it was less than a third of people wanted to leave the UK. It's simply not sustainable to go on for years and years with almost half the country wanting to break away.
So Slugger O'Toole, they're obviously a little bit sceptical. Do you think you're going to live to see an independent Scotland?
An independent Scotland, I don't know, but a second independence referendum, yes, I think I certainly will live to see that. I'll probably be covering it, because I think with the result that we saw last night and the likelihood of the SNP and the Greens, at least together, being able to form a pro-independence majority at Holyrood, I don't know how, in the long term, it's sustainable to refuse.
And Mick, very quickly, does Britain leaving the European Union, including Northern Ireland, actually make joining up with the Irish Republic more attractive to Northern Irish voters?
It depends entirely on Boris Johnson and the kind of Brexit that he proposes. And I think one of the reasons why appetite for Scottish independence has been high, it's only one reason, there are many different reasons for that. And also, once before the election, the whole speculation about the border poll was getting out of hand is partly out of fear of the unknown, of not knowing exactly what this Brexit will mean in bread and butter issues. There is a possibility that having a substantial majority now in Parliament, Boris Johnson tacks to the centre and brings off a much more moderate kind of deal than some of the some of the speculation that the political declaration has given rise to. In which case, I think you may well see a falling back from some of that radicalism. He's going to have to find some way, I think, to stem that demand. Just saying no, I think, is I agree, not a good way forward.
Okay, thank you both very much indeed.